Great, everyone good? Welcome, thank you. Sorry to keep you all waiting. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. I am always proud to stand alongside our incredible leader of BPD, Commissioner Michael Cox, and President of the Boston Police Patrolmen's Association, Larry Calderoni. And today we are here to announce that the city and our BPPA partners have settled a one-year contract extension that has also been ratified by our officers. Commissioner, thank you so much for your leadership and all that you do day in and day out, 24 hours a day, all your attention to every detail for the health, well-being, and safety of not just our residents, but our officers as well. And thank you, Larry, for your strong and steady advocacy on behalf of our police officers for all that they and their families need and deserve. I also want to thank the labor relations team from the City of Boston for all your hard work, our finance team, our budget office, and everyone who has come together. We're in an unending cycle of bargaining and negotiations, and so it feels great to be able to reach an agreement with our partners that does a lot for our city, our residents, and of course our public safety workers. Back in December 2023, we stood right here and had shared that for the first time in Boston's history, we used police contract negotiations to bring all sides together and deliver on long overdue reforms for our community and for our safety workforce. We reached a landmark agreement that both sides had been working for and hoping for in some ways through advocacy for decades. The City of Boston became the first city and the first police department in the country to remove arbitration for the most serious terminable offenses, with our officers resoundingly voting in favor of a contract that held up the highest standards of accountability, making clear that it is a privilege and a duty to wear that badge and serve our residents. We reorganized the paid detail system to make sure the most important details are covered first, prioritizing safety around major construction sites and intersections, large-scale events, and the many, many ways that we need to make sure our residents know that they're safe, even as in changing times and as we are putting even more energy into creating opportunities for people to come together, be together in person, and increasing the vibrancy and activity on our streets. We paved the way for civilian flaggers to control traffic, created a centralized booking system for BPD, and also raised wages for paid details, expanded educational opportunities for officers, and created a longevity program to reward service and reduce attrition. That settlement showed what's possible when the city and our unions sit down, stay at the table, and work together to find agreement. This year's contract is the next step in that ongoing process. And I'm excited to share some of the details here. First, we know that we're in a moment of intense conversation about what public safety means, and Boston finds ourselves often in the national conversation. The numbers are very clear that our city is the safest major city in the country, but it's even clearer on the ground in our neighborhoods, where month after month, week after week, hour by hour, our officers are working alongside our residents to build trust and work together on the public safety strategies to keep everyone in our community safe. And so part of this contract acknowledges that we can always do more on the front of building trust and transparency and accountability. In our communities, when we have seen masked federal agents stake out our schools and churches, when they drag parents from their children without due process, and refuse to show a badge or give their name or any other details about what's happening, the goal isn't safety, it's creating fear. But here in Boston, the safest major city in the country, we do things differently. Our officers take an oath to protect our residents. They're proud to serve the city. They call our city home and don't build trust with our community by hiding. That's why part of this contract that we're announcing includes a provision that now will enable the department to work so that all patrol officers will wear name tags. Real public safety requires transparency, and knowing someone's name makes a difference. Having that direct connection and not being afraid to work alongside and to take actions that are in partnership with our community. It means that when you're in crisis, you won't be facing down a stranger behind a uniform. You're speaking to a person, a neighbor, a fellow member of our community. And we are going to continue that work on public safety that binds together our community members and our officers. So I know this has been a point of discussion for many, many years, and I want to thank Larry and Jamie and all the members of the BPPA for taking this important step in transparency and setting an example for the rest of the country. This agreement also reflects one of Commissioner Cox's most important priorities, officer well-being. Our officers are at their best when we give them the support to take care of themselves and their families. And so the city has committed to funding department gyms at district stations, headquarters, and the academy. Patrol officers can work out for 30 minutes per shift at these gyms. We are also revising the field officer training program to improve accountability and add supports for new recruits, and overhauling our officer evaluation system to assess more areas of performance regularly. We've made the paid detail system work better by reducing the clerical burden on patrol officers and allowing for some overlap between paid details and scheduled shifts so that more officers are actually eligible to take these shifts. And we've expanded the summer vacation schedule to make sure we're fully staffed in the busiest months for the city, avoiding officers having to be forced to come in on overtime. So to President Calderoni, to Commissioner Cox, to every member of the Boston Police Patrolmen's Association and every member of our police department and our community, thank you for coming to the table to bring to life so many of the reforms and the changes that we have been discussing. Thank you for showing the country what real public safety looks like. Okay, one more time in español, and then I'll pass it over to Commissioner Cox. Buenos días y gracias. En diciembre de 2023, por la primera vez en la historia de Boston, aquí, utilizamos las negociaciones del contrato policial para lograr reformas que llevaban décadas pendientes. Alcanzamos un acuerdo histórico con reformas que ambas partes habían buscado durante muchos años. Ese acuerdo demostró lo que es posible cuando la ciudad y el sindicato se sientan y se quedan en la mesa para trabajar juntos hasta encontrar soluciones. El contrato de este año es el siguiente paso en este proceso continuo. Primero, cuando agentes del gobierno federal enmascarados vigilan nuestras escuelas y iglesias, cuando sacan a padres y madres de sus hogares sin el debido proceso y se niegan a mostrar una placa o dar su nombre, el objetivo no es la seguridad, es el miedo. Pero aquí en Boston, la ciudad grande más segura del país, hacemos las cosas de otra manera. Nuestros oficiales hacen un juramento de proteger a nuestros residentes. Están orgullosos de servir a la ciudad que llaman su hogar. Y no se ganan la confianza de la comunidad ocultándose. Por eso, hoy anunciamos que todos los oficiales de patrulla llevarán etiquetas con su nombre, porque la verdadera seguridad pública requiere transparencia. Y saber el nombre de alguien marca la diferencia. Significa que cuando estás en crisis, no te enfrentas a un desconocido detrás de un uniforme. Estás hablando con una persona, con un vecino o vecina. Eso es lo que representa la verdadera seguridad pública. La ciudad también se ha comprometido a financiar gimnasios en las estaciones distritales, la oficina central y en la academia. En esos gimnasios, los oficiales de patrulla podrán hacer ejercicio durante 30 minutos por cada turno. Hemos revisado y ajustado el programa de entrenamiento de oficiales de patrulla para mejorar la responsabilidad y ofrecemos más apoyo a los nuevos reclutas. Hemos renovado el sistema de evaluación de los oficiales para medir mejor su desempeño. Hemos hecho más eficiente el sistema de pago para servicios de seguridad adicional al reducir la carga administrativa para nuestros patrulleros y a permitir cierta flexibilidad entre los turnos de trabajo regulares y los turnos adicionales ya programados. Y hemos ampliado el calendario de vacaciones de verano para asegurar que haya suficiente personal en los meses más activos sin necesidad de obligar a los oficiales a hacer horas extras. Entonces, a Larry, al comisionado Cox y a cada miembro de nuestro departamento, gracias por sentarse a la mesa y trabajar para mejorar la vida de nuestros residentes y de nuestros oficiales. Y gracias por mostrarle al país cómo se ve la verdadera seguridad pública. And I'll pass it on to Commissioner Michael Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. Our officers do a tremendous job trying to make sure the public here is safe in the city and partnering with all those here in the city to make Boston one of the safest places to be. And I'm just so happy and pleased that the mayor, and as well as other people in the city, appreciate the officers and the work that they do in an evolving public safety landscape where we have to deal with so many things throughout the country, actually right here in the city. And the fact is that my job is, as commissioner, certainly is to make sure that public safety is enhanced, public trust is enhanced, and the fact is that our professionalism within the department gets better each and every year. This contract, helps all of those things happen and occur, and I'm just very pleased that we are able to come to an agreement. Before I go into that a little bit, and I won't talk long here, I do want to, thank certainly the labor team in the city and the police department. We have many, many labor agreements, and that's a very difficult and arduous process sometimes. And we appreciate the work that you all do on a daily basis because there's so many people involved, including finance. That being said, I just want to highlight some of the things that the mayor just covered and maybe briefly, describe at least my opinion on the importance of it. Name tags. The mayor just made mention of right now throughout the country, there's a great deal of lack of trust with police just due to the fact that you can't see what they look like, and more importantly, you have no idea who they are. We practice community policing here in the city. Name tags are, I couldn't think of a no more important introduction to an officer to the public as someone with their name displayed on their chest, as well as clearly being able to see a friendly, professional face there to protect them. This goes a long way in making sure that we ensure that we can keep the public's trust and that we continue our community policing model that's done so well, that we've done so well, I think, over the many years. And so I think it's vitally, vitally important in this particular time. Evaluations, a quick point on evaluations. We are in the process of trying to get nationally accredited. And part of the accreditation process is you need to be able to evaluate your personnel. And so we're in the process of formalizing that mechanism to make sure that that process gets completed and we go on and not only talk about our professionalism and what we do, but actually have other folks come in and actually verify that. So we are in the process of doing that, and when we complete that, we will have another announcement to talk a little bit more. This contract certainly helps us continue that mode. Vacations. Our vacation periods have been expanded, as the mayor made mention before, because you have a great deal of officers trying to take all their vacations in a very compact period. The expansion of that gives us the ability to not force officers into mandatory overtime in the summer when they can be at home with their families and actually enjoy their vacations like most people. We have kind of been forcing officers, particularly in the summer months, to work a lot of mandatory overtime. This should alleviate some of the pressures of us doing that going forward, and also give the officers, more time at home with their families. Wellness. The mayor has made mention of wellness several times within this, and this contract goes a long way of addressing that. Giving the officers 30 minutes a day to actually, work out. Something as simple as working out just goes so far for their health in general. Whether it's they want to work out or meditate, we're giving them the ability to do it, and we're enhancing the gyms within our department throughout so that there's no excuse for them not to do that. So I appreciate the mayor so much for making sure this contract gets done. Thank you very much, Larry, for agreeing with it and coming to the table and negotiating in a fair way and being on board with making sure that our officers not only understand the mission of community policing, but that we lead the way particularly here in this area, and I thank you for your partnership in that. So up next is Larry Calderon.
So much for my technology. Afternoon, everybody. I'd like to take the opportunity to say thank you, Mayor, for letting me come here and speak for a few minutes. Commissioner, thank you for the partnership and the kind words as well. Take the opportunity to tell everybody that prior to Mayor Wu, the Boston Police Patrolmen's Association was, for the most part, unsuccessful in negotiating and settling contracts for the memberships themselves to ratify. So it's extremely important for me to acknowledge that, say thank you to the mayor and obviously the commissioner, but this doesn't happen without you, Mayor. And we're here today to say that for the second time now, we're delivering a settled, ratified contract for the men and women of the Patrolmen's Association. Can't be done without you, Mayor, and can't be done without the teams working together as a whole. That being said, I believe that one of the reasons why the mayor and I are so successful in coming to these negotiated contracts is because we share a similar vision. And that vision is making the department more professional, continuing to have them more respected in their community, and building that relationship with the people that we serve. That can't be done without your partnership, and obviously can't be done without working side by side with the commissioner and his team. Together, all of us will continue to bring the Boston Police Department further into the future and continue to keep Boston one of the premier destinations for visitors and keeping it one of the safest cities across the country. Again, without your leadership in delivering this contract to us, Mayor, we wouldn't be here today. And it should be noted that this is what collective bargaining should look like. This is the way the outcome should be. We should be standing here, patting each other on the back, saying, job well done. Clearly, we don't get everything we want in our organization, and I'm sure that the commissioner and the mayor probably wanted something a little bit more. But I look forward to the next round of negotiations. I look forward to look forward to delivering something else for the people that we serve and continuing to make Boston proud. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner.
Questions?
You said that police officers, uniformed police officers wear name tags. Will gang unit members, detectives also wear name tags? And if so, and if not, why not?
Probably in the very, very near future, the gang unit will as well, yes. Or some version of a name tag, because they're a little different uniform, so it might not be a metal one. So.
If the relationship with the Police Patrolmen's Association is so good, why is this only a one-year contract? Why couldn't you get something that goes on longer?
Yeah, we're going to get right back to this. This will take us through the end of this fiscal year, June 30th of 2026, and we are going to then pursue a longer-term contract and the scale of conversations that we needed. Look, we're in a time of many different kinds of unpredictability, financial and fiscal uncertainty coming from the daily proclamations of the federal government and what that means for city and state budgets. And we're also in a time of tremendous need for more certainty and more predictability when it comes to public safety. There's a lot of fear in our communities, and I think we collectively decided that we could trim some of the aspirations that each side had for what would go into a multi-year contract and just focus on making sure that we would be able to have an active contract on the table, get it done, and then talk about the bigger picture in the months to come.
We know about the staffing situation. It's always been a challenge, the need for more police officers, more recruits, given the staffing shortages and the challenges. How is it that you feel it's appropriate to give officers a half hour on shift to work out, and as the commissioner described it, as meditating while, I suppose, neighborhoods need them on the street?
Yeah, well, why don't you start and then I'll fill in.
Well, they can. I'm just saying 30 minutes a day, I mean, you have that for lunch, or most people do. And so the issue is having 30 minutes for them to work out actually makes them better officers because they're well in that way. And so we're doing things to encourage their wellness. We talk about it a lot, but actually this is actually putting something in contract where we're actually setting aside time so they can actually do that. again, if there's an event going on or if there's activities where obviously if there's emergencies or it's just very busy, they might not be able to do it that particular day. But the fact is, we're going a long way to meet them where they are, to make sure that we're, not just talking about their wellness, but actually giving them time to do it.
Can I just follow up on this piece a little bit too, just to say, I have learned a lot from our officers and from the commissioner and our team about all the many, many intricacies that have to go into keeping a city safe 24 hours a day, no matter what is happening. And it's not as simple as to say we have this many officers and therefore that is the sort of direct number of hours worked that there will be. When it comes to staffing shortages, of course, the number of officers matters, and that's why we have been putting through the largest ever police academy classes over the last few years, even to the point where we were doing double-sized classes, where we had overlapping classes, which hadn't happened for a very long time. We have added to the departmental count not only in large numbers, but also the most representative and diverse classes that we have seen as a city as well. Language, capacity, Boston residents, people who know our city inside out, and everyone devoted to our city. But on top of how you have to think about the sheer numbers, there's also the availability once an officer is on the force. Are they healthy? Are they out on leave? Are they being called in on overtime so much that there's burnout, which can lead to turnover in many different ways? When our administration started, the statistic was that at that moment, 4 years ago, about more than 10% of the patrol force was out on long-term medical leave for a year or more. I mean, it was many different factors contributing to that. There were some pieces in the last contract about medical leave and how that can happen. The commissioner has done a lot to work to invest in officer health and well-being and safety and some of the practices internally to address that challenge as well. But making sure that the officers we have hired, trained, recruited, and who are out in our community are also healthy and able to work and do the job is a key part of addressing staffing. And so it is well worth the investment in our officer health and well-being to make sure that they're getting that daily investment in their own health.
Last question. When does the disciplinary system work feature of the contract that city settled with the union in 2023? Are there any further changes included in this extension, or was that less of a priority this time around?
Yeah, we wanted to keep it pretty directly focused on immediate, tangible, very impactful issues for this moment. And so what we outlined are the main pieces of it. Okay. Is there anyone who didn't ask something who wanted to ask? Yes.
What's your reaction to the explosion that happened on Harvard University's campus in Longwood over the weekend?
It's still an investigation. Yeah, so that's still an investigation. The FBI, as well as the JTTF, are involved with that, and so we have members on that force. So there might be follow-up in that in the next couple of days or so, but currently we are investigating it as fully, and it's a shame that people do things like that. But the fact is that in this city, we will. I'm pretty confident we're going to hold people accountable for that.
Sorry, Jessica, I know, there were a couple other outlets. It's okay that you, okay, so Gayla, I don't know if 25 wants to.
What's the starting pay for officers in the union, and is that returning to attracting officers, and how do you see that helping?
I'm sorry, Gayla, could you ask that again?
What's the starting pay for officers, and was that a focus to attracting officers?
Excuse me. It fluctuates. So from year 1 to year 3, you're a base paid police officer. Could fluctuate depending on your education, somewhere between $83,000 and $90,000 a year. And as you become more tenured and go through the longevity steps, your pay increases up until year 20. So there's a few different steps here you can take, but at the beginning, it should be somewhere between $80,000 and $90,000 based on education. And if I could stay for 1 second, I want to go back to your original question, sir, about the 1-year extension above and beyond what the mayor and the commissioner have already articulated. It's important for me to say that it also encompasses letting the men and women on the street know that they're appreciated. And I think that's something that we've done a very good job as a threesome to make sure that the men and women that are answering those calls for service, that are getting ordered in on their 1 or 2 weekends off in the summer, that they are appreciated. And what better way to let them know that than to come to an agreement as quickly as possible to not only give benefits to them and their families, but to also secure further professionalism and changes within the department. So appreciation is a big one that I wanted to touch on, Mayor.
Larry, is there some point, bone of contention that did not make it into this contract that you really wish had?
Don't give him that.
There's always something that we would like to put in the collective bargaining agreement, further securing benefits, working conditions that are better for my members, as well as, I don't speak for the mayor, obviously, or the commissioner, but on both sides of the table, there's always things that we want to include, but that's why we have successor agreements, and that's why we look forward to working it together again next June 30th or before. The mayor and the commissioner know that our door is always open to having conversations to better represent the city, the department, and our members. So we look forward to doing that again.
Anyone else who didn't ask a question?
It's just a question of the election tomorrow. The presumption is that you will be given a second term by the voters, and you have to plot out the next 4 years for your administration. Do you want Commissioner Michael Cox to continue as police commissioner? And do you have an assurance from him that he wants to continue to be police commissioner over the next 4 years?
Yes, and I think so, right? Okay, first I want to just touch a little bit back on a couple of the questions and what Larry just said and say, look, in terms of what didn't make it in, what we want to do in the future, things that we hope for and still want to push for within collective bargaining with our officers and the unions, there's always something. At the same time, it is really important to acknowledge that our officers are doing an incredible job. They're doing amazing work every single day, every single hour at a really, really difficult time. And they know, and I have heard and seen from them at neighborhood association meetings every month, at large-scale parades, at very tense public demonstrations or other interactions. They know that that work is only possible when we are hand in hand working alongside community members. And so most of all, I just want to say thank you to the men and women of the Boston Police Department, to their families, and to our residents. Every single person who steps in, comes to a meeting, shares your feedback, who says hello to one of our officers, or comes and calls in something that doesn't feel right, or shares some information that you might have about an incident that did happen, you are helping to continue to push us to be the safest major city. I say that all the time, not just to brag about Boston because it's important to have every other city know who is the best. It's also to remind ourselves that setting a standard that high requires daily work. And as conditions continue to change, as the threat landscape continues to evolve, and as the world can feel quite challenged day to day, it's important for us to keep going above and beyond and keep reaching higher and higher for that standard that we want to hold Boston to, and that we want to help ensure that our residents feel that we are investing in safety in this city. So that, I hope is the most important message that comes out from today, is thank you to everyone for all that you do to make Boston such a great example of what's possible when people still come together and get things done and take care of each other. And then in terms of what comes next for the department, your contract, you have a contract that's a number of years anyway.
So it's not up yet.
So the commissioner's on for a while. I hope he will stay here forever. He's been doing an amazing job. And
one thing to that.
Yes.
It's an honor to do this job, whether it's for a day or 100 years. I'm getting older in life in general, so I don't like to promise the future because I don't own that, right? But under the mayor's leadership, working with the men and women in our department, leading at a time when it is more challenging than ever before, it's an honor to do this work in this city at this time, So I'm deeply privileged, and as long as she wants me, I'm here. But I just have no idea what the future holds, and I'm a little superstitious about putting stuff out there like that. So, but yes.
Did you just comment briefly about the allegations made by Karen Reed's
All right,
defense
Mike, we're gonna wrap it up.
team about
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Thank you, everyone.